Did you catch that interview last night? Oprah returned to television with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, delivering what will probably be remembered as the most jaw-dropping gender reveal-level media moment in recent history. To put it into perspective, around 17 million Americans usually only tune in for the Super Bowl. Yet this Oprah special pulled numbers that rivaled even the season premiere of The Equalizer starring Queen Latifah, which is no small feat if only these specials came with vaccines included, we'd all be set. It's the first week of January 2026. Late-night television is back after the holiday break. Everyone's returning to work, easing back into routines, and the entertainment world is slowly waking up for the new year. Jimmy Kimmel walks on stage for his first show back. The audience expects the usual soft re-entry, a few holiday jokes, light celebrity chatter, nothing too heavy. Instead, he does the exact opposite. Rather than warming up the crowd, Kimmel goes straight for something bold, and nobody sees it coming. He opens with a clip from With Love, Meghan, the Netflix lifestyle series. Meghan Markle appears seated in her Montecito kitchen, calmly talking about togetherness, connection, and the importance of gathering people around the dinner table. She speaks about presence, authenticity, and nurturing relationships. It's polished. It's serene. It's classic lifestyle brand messaging, family values wrapped in a perfectly curated Netflix package. Kimmel lets the clip play uninterrupted. Meghan sounds composed, deliberate, almost rehearsed. Every phrase feels carefully selected. The language doesn't sound spontaneous. It sounds written. Even compared to how she speaks in short Instagram clips, this delivery feels more formal, more scripted, almost like she's performing the idea of warmth rather than simply being warm. Kimmel doesn't interrupt. He doesn't joke. He doesn't rush it. He allows the entire message to land exactly as intended. Meghan is in full guide mode, offering advice on closeness and connection, as though she's authoring a handbook on meaningful living. Then Kimmel looks directly into the camera and changes everything. He compliments the advice, calls it thoughtful, even touching. And then, calmly, he asks a single question that instantly flips the energy in the room. When was the last time Meghan Markle actually had dinner with someone who knew her before fame? Old friends, former co-stars, extended family, anyone from her real, pre-celebrity life. The studio erupts. The audience jumps to its feet. Applause roars through the room. Not because the line was cruel, but because everyone immediately understands what just happened. There was no shouting.
No insults. No accusations.
Just contrast. The message and the reality were placed side by side, and the audience connected the dots on their own. That moment landed harder than any direct attack ever could. For years, mainstream American media avoided saying this out loud. But with one quiet question, a late-night host highlighted what many viewers had already been thinking: the growing gap between branding and lived experience. And it didn't end there. The very next night, Stephen Colbert aired a segment titled Brands Nobody Asked For. It focused on celebrity ventures that exist simply because famous people launch them. And right at the center of it was Meghan Markle. The jokes came fast. Her lifestyle products. The stalled deals. Even a sharp line about how bad someone must be at talking to lose a podcast deal built entirely around conversation. These weren't gentle celebrity teasers. What made this moment significant is that both Kimmel and Colbert had previously defended Meghan. After the Oprah interview years earlier, they openly supported her narrative and criticized the royal family. For a long time, she was treated carefully, protected, even. That's why this shift matters. When people who once shielded you stop doing damage control, something has clearly changed. Hollywood doesn't turn like this by accident. It moves when the mood shifts. When protection fades. When pretending no longer feels worth it. Kimmel's monologue was carefully structured. He didn't start with Meghan. He began broadly, talking about lifestyle gurus and public figures who sell advice about authenticity. He let the audience settle into the theme. Then he introduced the example that tied it all together. He allowed Meghan to sell the message first. Then he reframed it. And once the frame changed, the image cracked. According to audience members, Kimmel continued with additional clips. Meghan speaking about being true to yourself, followed by a list of her reinventions: actress, humanitarian, podcast host, lifestyle expert. One identity after another. Then came the punchline. He joked about what might be next: astronaut, professional athlete, highlighting how often the image shifts in search of something that sticks. Each line earned louder applause because the audience recognized the pattern. These weren't rushed jokes. They felt like material that had been waiting in a drawer for years, waiting for enough evidence, enough outcomes, enough public fatigue. Then Stephen Colbert took it even further. His segment wasn't casual. It was fully produced. Graphics, music, structure. He warmed the audience up with celebrity tequilas and makeup lines, building rhythm. Then he pivoted. When Meghan's name appeared, the room shifted instantly. He focused on the as-ever lifestyle brand rollout, beginning with the now infamous jam sent to celebrity friends. He joked that the product was so exclusive that even people who received it for free didn't seem excited. The audience laughed, not out of cruelty, but recognition. Then came the trademark rejection. Colbert joked that even the patent office seemed unimpressed. Next, Spotify. He pointed out that podcasting is literally sitting in a room and talking, and yet the deal didn't last. The laughter exploded because viewers already knew the context. Public reports had described frustration over how little content was produced relative to the massive investment. That joke worked because it wasn't speculation. It was outcome-based. The Netflix series hadn't performed well. Critics called it dull and inauthentic. Worse, audiences simply didn't show up. Viewers said the warmth felt rehearsed. The advice felt hollow. The authenticity looked practiced instead of lived. And when your entire brand is being real, being widely labeled as artificial is devastating. That's why comedians waited. They didn't rush in early. They let projects fail publicly. Let reactions settle. Let patterns emerge. Then they spoke, when denial was no longer convincing. By January 2026, the narrative had shifted. 3 high-profile ventures struggling back-to-back doesn't read as bad luck. It reads as a pattern. That's why the jam became symbolic. A lifestyle brand aiming for global influence launching with jam confused people. The scale didn't match the ambition. The credibility wasn't there yet. Martha Stewart spent decades building expertise before selling anything. Gwyneth Paltrow built Goop by leaning into something that was already undeniably her. Meghan skipped that phase, and audiences noticed. So when late-night hosts highlighted constant rebranding, it wasn't mean-spirited. It was observational. List the identities out loud and the joke writes itself. Actress, royal, activist, podcaster, lifestyle mogul, rebrand, reset, repeat. Once comedians frame you as a cycle instead of a story, credibility evaporates. Prince Harry's presence added another layer. A prince who left royal life, family, and country, now tied to ventures that keep failing. The contrast between expectation and result is unavoidable. By opening 2026 with this material, Kimmel and Colbert effectively crushed the idea of a clean comeback. Their audiences are exactly the people Meghan needs: culture-aware, educated viewers who buy lifestyle brands. Once those viewers see hypocrisy or inconsistency highlighted, it sticks. Now Meghan has 3 options: respond and risk defensiveness, ignore it and let the jokes define her, or slow down completely and rebuild credibility from the ground up. History suggests another pivot is coming. But late night has already made forgetting impossible. And once comedians define you as a pattern, every new project arrives under shadow. This story isn't over, but the tone has changed. And Hollywood has stopped pretending.